is one of the messiest breakups I've ever seen online. Hello, you gorgeous donut. Ned Fulmer was a co-owner of the Try Guys YouTube channel. If you don't know who these people are, they're one of the biggest YouTube groups there is. I believe they originally started on BuzzFeed and then made their own thing and made it even bigger than what it was on BuzzFeed prior. Like, to this very day, I checked their social blade, they have nearly 3 billion views. Like, that's everyone in the world. Science. Is that even science? I don't even know what that is. Now, every single person in the Try Guys kind of had their own personality niche, like something they were known for. And what Ned was known for was having a wife and being the family-centered guy. That was what his entire brand and personality was geared towards on the channel. I actually found a compilation of the amount of times he mentioned his wife.
My wife, 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 my wife. My wife.
Sorry, can someone just check? Does Ned have a wife? Or did Ned have a wife? Oh, little bit of foreshadowing there. He's getting good. Michael Bay, eat your heart out. Now, fast forward to September 2022. One of the biggest online stories broke out where the fans of the Try Guys had put forward many allegations and had photographic evidence of Ned allegedly cheating on his wife. Like, how could you do this, Ned? You're meant to be the guy who loves your wife, and you're doing this. That's a funny way of loving her. Many photos and videos would circulate on Reddit, such as this one, where he was basically out with someone at a Harry Styles concert of all places. Men! They'll tell you they love you, then they'll take another woman to see Harry Styles. Can you believe it? The audacity! You know what? I could scream right now. Oh! And I've just remembered that women have periods as well, so that's just ruined me day. Oh, God, man. So angry right now. I could I could eat Harry Styles. What? Don't have to ask me twice. Now, obviously, cheating on your wife, like, in any circumstances, is awful and terrible, but it's especially terrible when the whole reason you have a platform like yourself is because of the love that you've showed your wife. You know what I mean? Like, that's his entire thing. Like, without that, people don't really have they don't really know what his personality is. Now, after all of this broke out, both Ned and his wife Ariel actually put out their own statement. Ned put this on Instagram: "Family should have always been my priority, but I lost focus and had a consensual workplace relationship." I do want to make it clear, I believe it was someone that worked in the company. I think it was a producer, which obviously just makes it 10 times worse because it's someone you work with as well. Even if you're single, like, you're the boss of that person. Like, it's a weird dynamic in that way as well. I'm sorry for any pain that my actions may have caused to the guys and the fans, but most of all to Ariel. Like, I don't think you need to apologize to the guys or the fans, really. Like, I think you should just be apologizing to your wife. That's the person you've let down here. You haven't cheated on us, okay? You've just lost our respect. We're not angry. We're just disappointed, Ned. The only thing that matters right now is my marriage and my children, and that's where I am going to focus my attention. Okay, should have been that from the start, obviously, but, you know. Ariel said, "Thanks to everyone who has reached out to me. It means a lot. Nothing is more important to me and Ned than our family, and all we request right now is that you respect our privacy for the sake of our kids." Or privacy. Is it privacy or privacy? I never know. Like, this is a very classy statement. She could have easily have, you know, digged out Ned and said things about him, you know, or something similar to Molly May, where it's a lot more vaguer and it makes people kind of have loads of theories about it. This is very to the point and very straight. And like I said, Ned built his whole brand on being the lovable family man, the husband, and because of this, like, obviously, that kind of hurt the reputations of the Try Guys because, you know, people obviously, it shouldn't really have an effect on them, but it kind of did in a weird way, just with all of the drama surrounding it. Obviously, they have done nothing wrong, but they decided to actually let their audience know that Ned will no longer be a part of the Try Guys.
Ned Fulmer is no longer working with the Try Guys. By now, we're assuming you've seen the Reddit threads and TikToks and tweets and news articles. We want to give you a timeline of what's transpired and some transparency into our decision making. Throughout this video, there will be things that we want to say or go into further, but as I'm sure you're aware, there are some legal issues we have to consider as we go through everything.
Like, this must be such a hard situation to be in, you know, because obviously, like, he's a co-owner. You can't just, like, you know, sack him. Like, he owns a part of this company. Like, either he sells his shares or he keeps his shares and he's just not on camera, but then you're doing all the work at this point on camera. You know, it's such a awkward situation for them. Like, I don't envy being in their position. I mean, they're all probably millionaires anyway. But you can tell on the guys' faces, especially this guy on the left, looks like he's about to unleash hell. He's like, you twat, Ned. He looks really angry. Now, after this, the Try Guys continue to kind of flourish. They, you know, continue to do really well. Like, I don't really think performance-wise this affected them in the long run. And during this time, both Ned and Ariel had kind of just taken, you know, things offline. Like, they weren't posting that much, if all. Like, people had, like, took photos of Ned in the street and stuff and, like, had updates, but there wasn't much posting from them themselves. However, 3 years later, on September the 17th, this year, just a few days ago, a huge bombshell was released as Ned actually came forward to the internet and announced a new show. As you can see here, it's a YouTube channel. It's called Rock Bottom with Ned Fulmer. Already, when I saw the title, I was like, I can see exactly where this is going. Like, why has he called it Rock Bottom? Just to get a bit more context of what this show is going to be about, I'm not going to explain it here. We're just gonna read the bio. Everyone makes mistakes. Sorry, like I am. If you haven't watched the channel before, I am often empathetic to people's situations. I try to be. I just find this a little bit self-aware or not self-aware. Everyone makes mistakes. Like, you're talking as if like you did something, you know, by accident, or just like, oh, I can't believe I did that. No, you had like an affair, an actual affair. It wasn't like a, you know, like a one-night stand mistake thing, which is bad anyway. But this was like an actual conscious multi-day week affair. Some of us, really big ones. Yeah. But what comes next? Rock Bottom is a show that explores people's lowest, most embarrassing and challenging moments, featuring raw, unfiltered conversations with comedians, creators, authors and celebrities. We talk about how they not only survived it all, but transformed their lives. Now, I understand from his point of view and his, you know, team's point of view, this is like a repair job in terms of his brand. Like, his entire brand was, you know, centered around this thing that he has kind of ruined. So now they're trying to make this like a thing that he's kind of, you know, doing like a self-healing process. But I just don't understand how you're going to get people to come on and just like, or other people going to come on and talk about how they've cheated. I just can't understand where this is really going to go, because this is always going to get brought up that he cheated, because his rock bottom moment is him cheating. Like, I don't think there's anything else really to it apart from like the online perception and the hate he probably got, which I imagine was really, really hard. Like, that's one thing that I would possibly empathize on him a little bit. Like, he got a lot of death threats and he got like so many intense people saying they were going to hurt him, which obviously is too far. Like, yes, he's done a horrific thing, but you know, he shouldn't lose his life over it. But when I read this, I just thought it seemed a bit disingenuous, possibly. And I feel like my thought of that was further backed up when he actually revealed that the first guest on his new show is going to be his wife, Ariel. Like, what? The first guest is going to be Ariel? Like, that's such a bold move. It's a bold move to do a public podcast with that. Anyway, because it's no situation where you're not going to come off bad here. Like, you're the one that cheated. It's all going to get talked about and people are going to get more clarity on this bad thing that you did. I just can't understand it. From his point of view, going into this, he might think, you know, he's on good terms with Ariel now. They can talk about it. Hopefully, Ariel will talk about him in a positive manner, which will change the overall perception. If Ariel possibly says, I've forgiven him, then what's the excuse for the audience to not forgive him? I'm not saying this is right. I'm saying from his point of view, this is the way he's probably looking at it. This is the only explanation for why you would do this. Now, during this episode, they talk about the affair in detail, and honestly, it's one of the most excruciating watches ever. Don't worry, you don't have to watch the whole thing. I'm going to break it down for you so you don't have to put yourself through it. They also talk about their separation and their co-parenting, because I didn't realize they actually had children together, which makes this scenario so much worse. Like, could you imagine being, you know, the child in this divorce? Like, it's hard enough, you know, just seeing your parents get divorced and splitting up when you're used to a family unit, but then them doing a public podcast about it and talking about it all. You know, in a couple of years, like when you're in school and stuff, people are going to put that possibly on the whiteboard, like evil kids. And you know, it's always the kids that suffer. Whenever we do a video on anything like this, it's always the kids that come off the worst. One thing I will say prior to us actually breaking down this podcast is it definitely doesn't go the way that Ned planned it to. So get comfy, because we're going to break the entire thing down. So the intro to the podcast is Ned himself kind of looking down the lens and talking about, you know, the past 3 years and why they're doing this podcast today. The entire thing is uncut and it straight away makes you a little bit uncomfortable.
Hi, I'm Ned Fulmer. 3 years ago, I cheated on my wife with my producer. It became a massive public scandal that caused a lot of pain to a lot of people. I know that I represented myself as a kind of wife guy who...
Yeah, I represented myself as a kind of wife guy. What is a kind of wife guy? You're either wifed or you're not. Now, one thing I will say is going into this, I wasn't like emotionally connected to anybody in this. Like, I didn't know much about the Try Guys before doing the full research for this video. I'm always open to people having some sort of like redemption and bettering themselves, but it has to be, I actually have to feel it. Like, I have to feel like they actually are sorry. Like, they're not doing it for like another gain. They're not trying to get something out of this. They genuinely just are doing this because this is what they feel in their bones. And I think it's really easy to see if someone's being sincere with it or not, which we're gonna see if actually Ned is being sincere by the end of this.
I wanted to say that I'm sorry. I hurt you. And I hope to make amends.
Again, like, I understand if you're a viewer of that person, you will feel a bit betrayed, but like, I just feel like this message should just be going to his wife Ariel. Am I wrong in saying that? This Ariel should be hearing all of this, not the audience. Like, yes, the audience like have invested time and effort into, supporting this person. But I don't know, I just get a strange vibe straight away. And I'm not coming into this with any emotional bias. This is my first time really, seeing this person speak in a long form format.
This is a conversation with Ariel in this video. It's painful at times. It's honest, vulnerable, brutal. But it's necessary for her to move forward, and I'm grateful for the chance to witness it. Yeah.
It's like, I understand from his point of view, this must be so uncomfortable to do, like genuinely so uncomfortable, but it is almost like he's got a gun to his head and they're making him say it. Even the language he's using there, this is necessary for her to move forward. Like, he's basically framing it as if he's doing her a favour. Like, oh yes, she needs this to move forward, so this is what we're gonna do. Like, she wants to do this. So very clearly you can tell that he's not that comfortable. However, he is recording this after the podcast has went down, so I wonder if his demeanour right now is because what went down in the podcast. But I do want to make it clear, this is not for the benefit of Ariel, in my opinion. Like, if this was for the benefit of her, he would have done it on like a channel for her. She could, take the money and, spend it on the kids, or just, maybe, I don't know, like, this to me seems like he's using this as the first episode of his new show. Everyone's going to talk about him. It's loads of awareness that he's back, and, it's an instant, like, pushing the algorithm for the show. Like, I can't get past the fact that he's launching his show with this. It just seems like he's getting more out of it, and he's not actually telling you that. But again, I'm trying not to be too harsh here, and I do want to make this balanced and actually listen to what he's got to say. After this, the podcast then begins, and instantly you can tell the dynamic between them both is really frosty, and it's really awkward from the offset.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm on the verge of like standing up and walking out of this room. Absolutely.
Same.
I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing?
Bearing in mind, we're only like a minute and 30 in at this point. There's an hour to go. And straight away when I heard this, I was like, okay, I think Ariel is going to stand on business here. I don't think this is going to be a whole, I'm going to forgive you on camera and I'm going to like make you look positive to the public. Straight away here, I was like, oh, she's going to be really authentic, so this is actually not going to be like a manufactured piece of content. And authentic is exactly what this podcast turns out to be from Ariel's side. And I'll let you be the judge of whether it's the same on Ned's. They then go on to talk about like how their life has kind of changed, what it was like to, experience this breakup in the public, like how that made everything else more intense. They talk a lot about their children in the opening scenes. And it's a little bit lighthearted at this point. It's almost like they're just trying to feel it out. Until about 10 minutes in, there's a clear vibe switch where Ariel admits if she does forgive Ned or not.
No, like, people ask me, like, do you forgive Ned for what he did? And I mean, the answer is no, absolutely not. How can you forgive somebody for lying to you, for cheating on you? No.
Oh, it's on like Donkey Kong. Oh, that was cringe. This is so authentic. Okay, I'm sad. Love, you've got my attention. Keep talking. I love it. Keep talking. Right, slay queen. Don't forgive that man, queen. You've got this, queen. Keep popping off, love. You're slaying right now. You know what you are, Ariel? from the dog's mouth. And I think this specific moment sets the entire tone for the podcast because the vibe switches from here. And one thing I do find really interesting is Ned's team, production team, are in, total control of the editing, the producing, well, hopefully it's not that producer. That would be a bit awkward. But they don't pan to Ned's face when she says this. So they don't want, the audience to get the clip of Ned being shocked by this. Like, that is one thing I picked up on. They don't go to him at all. In every other podcast, if something like this was said, they would instantly go to the other person because you get more emotion. They just keep it on her, and it's the only time they really do this in the entire podcast. It's the fact the more she said no, she really saw red and was like, no, no. What, for ruining my life? My kid's life? Think I'm gonna forgive that creep? With his producer. Yeah, I'm looking at you. You better keep my ex-husband out your hand.
Like, I don't even... It's...
I'm someone that hates awkward silences. Like, I don't deal well with them. The aura in this room is so awkward. Not for on her behalf, by the way. Like, she's really opening up here, but it's just how excruciating this is because it's real. It's not acting. It's a real people in a real situation. I can't believe this is actually being podcasted to people they don't know.
Sorry, I saw red for a minute. It's like, no, the answer is no. But
I knew she did. She was like, oh, do I forgive Ned? No. 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 Fuck no. Ned, where is he? Oh, there he is. Get him.
Forgiveness isn't the goal at this point. We've been together for a long time. And you are the father of my 2 beautiful children, and we know each other really well.
This is what makes this situation so much more difficult because, imagine a lot of people watching this video have been cheated on and you just don't have kids or whatever. You might have been in a relationship for a long time and it's very hurtful. And it's horrific and it's a break of trust, and then you carry that into relationships in the future. It definitely damages you. But when you have kids, you have to still be cordial with that person. You still have to, you can't say to your kids, oh, your dad or your mom's a terrible person, because it's not fair to the kids, because you're kind of leaking the trauma you've been given onto them, even though, if they are a horrible person, you can say that. But if they're still wanting to be in their lives and they're still showing up and they've just made, it's so difficult. Obviously, I don't want to get too personal, but it's hard. And it's so hard, and this is why I'm so surprised they've done a podcast when I found out they've got kids.
We've worked through a lot of stuff, and the fact that I can be around you and still have a good time.
This woman, bless her, has been through so much, just mental unraveling. Just really trying to figure stuff out to a point where she can understand the situation. I think that's where she's at. She's not over it. She's just beginning to understand it. Look at his face, man. Yeah, you're doing so well, love. Keep going, sweetie. You're doing fab. When I heard Ned's response to Ariel opening up, I did think it was a little media trainee, if that's even a word.
Yeah. It's taken a lot of hard work to do that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, as we've adjusted, we've recalibrated our relationship more towards a platonic friendship, and then it's just been challenging, but I think we're getting to a point of sort of celebrating that and really embracing it and accepting it for what it is, as we're grieving the past. And it's hard to hear you saying no, I don't forgive you. But of course I get it.
Oh, this is one of the hardest watches. The fact he was like, yeah, it's really hard for you to say that. Do you want to change your answer? Are you sure? Are you sure you don't forgive us? She literally just laughed. She went, yeah, well, you shouldn't cheat on us, I'm sure I do. No. But his response there was very just kind of cold, in my opinion. It was a very politician's answer. It was, we've worked really hard and recalibrated our platonic relationship to get to a place where we're celebrating. Just a long-winded way of saying, yeah, I cheated.
You're still, as much progress as we've had, you're still very angry.
Yeah, of course I'm angry.
Like, he's maintaining they've made a lot of progress, and I honestly believe going into this podcast, he thought that maybe he'd put in enough work where they were at a point where they'd gotten over a lot of stuff, and he didn't realise how angry she actually still was. And now, like, you're on the podcast, like, it's happening, like, there's nothing you can do, really.
Not having sat in this position for 3 years, you know, and like, yeah, of course I'm still angry. We lost a lot. There was a lot that happened 3 years ago.
I'm sorry, like, why would you launch your show with this being the first episode? Yes, from a numbers point of view, it's gonna just, you know, do whatever. But why would you think anybody, after watching this, would want to be like, you know what, I'm going to support this guy. This guy seems like a real trustworthy stand-up bloke that I'm going to dedicate my time into promoting his show. You know, like, I just don't understand. I'm really struggling to understand. Like, one thing I do want to ask is, and to any Try Guys, you know, viewers out there, people that were fans of them before all this happened, did you feel like you needed this to close the chapter, or do you think they should have just kind of, you know, especially Ned, do you think that Ned should have just stayed off the internet from now? It'll be interesting to hear the perspective of someone that actually, you know, invested a lot of time into this group, and, you know, that's a big thing.
I found out about your affair from the fans. I mean, and I was so blindsided that somebody sent me a picture, and
love. So it didn't even come from him, which makes it so much worse. Like, even, you know, if he'd done this affair and he'd confessed it and said, look, I'm really sorry this has been going on, you know, and it was like he did it, then at least you can be like, okay, at least he's come to us and I found it out this way, and I haven't, you know, I feel embarrassed when you shouldn't feel embarrassed, but I feel embarrassed, but at least I haven't found out from anyone else. It's a little solitude in the horrific situation. But the fact that, like, other people found out that your husband was sleeping with someone else before you just makes things so much worse. And I can't imagine what it must be like to be in that situation. Because you would feel embarrassed, even though, again, you shouldn't, because everyone knew before you. So you're going to be like, do I even matter in this relationship? Like, were you ever going to tell me if it never came out? You would constantly be asking yourself all of these questions. One thing I do find interesting when they're talking about the situation is Ariel constantly refers to it as Ned cheating, but Ned refers to it as the scandal. And I think that is like a little bit of like media training, a little bit of like, you know, deflection, you know, kind of trying to be like trying to take the word cheating out of it and just calling it like, oh yeah, we were in this big drama. When in reality, it wasn't really a drama on both sides. It was just something he did. The conversation takes an even worse turn as Ariel remembers the exact time that she found out that Ned had actually cheated on her. They were in the car going somewhere.
I was so, like, naively, so you were driving a rental, and I just naively looked over to you in the driver's seat, and I was like, why was Grace in New York? Like, I didn't realize Grace was in New York. Why was she, you know, referring to that picture that I had sent to you? And you looked over at me with this look on your face, and it was like the veil just fell, like this, you know, like I knew in my brain that something was going on, but I just sort of refused to believe it.
Again, the fact that he didn't tell her. She found out from someone else, so he just got exposed. This could have gone on for many months after. Like, is he actually sorry here in this situation? Or is he just sorry he got caught? That is the big question, I guess. Because clearly his face, like, can you imagine, like, that feeling of seeing his face and you know, like, you would get, like, a cold, you know that cold feeling you sometimes get where you're like, shit. Like, I can't imagine what that feeling was like for Ariel, honestly.
And, like, guilty look on your face. Like you wanted to tell me something. And I didn't even let you say anything. I was like, turn this car around. You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember it happening like that, but it doesn't matter.
How do you remember it happening?
Oh, I mean, you asked me a couple of different follow-up questions as I just sort of answered them.
Okay, thanks for that addition. That really changes the story. Well, I'm glad we figured that part of the story out, because that was really just kind of... I was like, this just doesn't make sense. Surely there would be a lot of, like, minor follow-up questions right now. Surely. This story just has no middle. This story's missing Act 1, 2, and 3. Such a weird thing to just, like, one up our, like, corrector on. Well, actually, I don't remember quite like that. You did say, well, can you, you know...
Once I, answered it in such a way that you knew exactly who it was and what had happened, yeah, then you were like, take me back to the airport.
Okay. Yeah, again, it's basically, you've just said exactly what she said, just in longer terms with more words. We don't get any more context with that. Yeah, I think he was just a little bit annoyed that had came out on the podcast, possibly. He just seems a bit defensive, and like, what can you say? Like, you have created this environment, like, you've got your ex-wife on for the first episode. Like, what did you expect? Did you really expect she would come on this and, like, be, oh, yeah, he's really good now. Like, I really love him. Like, he's great. He's a great dad. Honestly, like, you should definitely follow his show. He's, like, the sweetest guy ever. It was just never going to happen. The fact we're not even halfway through here.
Totally could see how devastated and just completely traumatized you were, and then it was just like, oh, everything changed for me as well. I'm like, oh no, this is like, I've been hurting this person that I love this whole time.
Guys, I'm not even gonna lie, this is bad. You can see on Ariel's face here, she's like, yeah, what, like, it's been 3 years and that's all you've got to say? Yeah, like, I knew I was hurting her the whole time. I do think, like, if you're Ariel, you do want to hear, like, a little bit of emotion. Like, I know even if he's not that type of guy, you do want to hear just, like, a little bit of, like, care. Because at the minute, it just seems like he's reading off, like, a teleprompter. It doesn't seem like he's actually... You can tell with Ariel, like, just, like, really, really emotionally speaking from the heart. Whereas there's just no emotion in this. It's, like, almost like as if he's void of any emotion, and it's just, he's trying to say, like, the right thing.
You didn't realize until then.
Well, but then there's other things you tell yourself to kind of sort of compartmentalize, or I guess.
When you're having an affair, like, you've realised that you're hurting the person, but what is the other thought? You're like, well, there was one night stand in a hotel, though. They make up for it. All those late night booty calls, I'm willing to put up with my wife's paying for that. I also like how Ariel, when she doesn't like an answer, just goes, She's like, this is your show, bitch. This is not mine. You want this to go down well? I get nothing out of this in terms of, like, anything. You have to dictate this. I want to hear more here. I'm not impressed with your replies to what I'm saying.
Interesting.
Speak!
It's sort of a...
It's never a good response when, especially your wife looks at you after about 10 seconds of just awkward silence, and the only word she says is... interesting. You have to say something. It's the rule. Whatever you just said, never say that again. Say the complete opposite. As long as you feel it. In other words, that means I think you're a total knob. Like, there's nothing this guy can say that is going to change what he did, or going to, make us think that he was, he was alright for doing what he did. There's nothing this guy can say. The top and bottom of it is he took the rush of being with a new person over the person that, he's built an entire family with. He chose the rush and the feeling that he got with this producer over the love of his children and, being in a family unit with his wife and, everything his wife and him had built. That's the top and bottom of it. There's no, like, explaining it, excusing it. That is it. Ariel then goes on to talk about how I imagine a lot of people feel after being, cheated on, especially when you're married. She talks about how embarrassed she feels, and obviously, like I've said earlier, you should never feel embarrassed if you're the one getting cheated on, even though your brain kind of makes you feel embarrassed. The embarrassment is all with the person that cheated. There is no shame attached to you for the actions of somebody else. And at this point, you can really see Ariel is, like, trying to keep it together. Like, she's almost, like, breaking down. Like, there's little moments where you're like, is she crying? It's kind of hard to tell. But she's really, like, you know, speaking from the heart here, and I still haven't heard anything from Ned that has convinced me that, you know, his sole purpose for doing this podcast is to apologise to his wife in front of everyone else. At this moment, I'm still convinced that he's trying to just repair his reputation a little bit, because at this point, there's just no flowing conversation. Like, Ariel has been very abrupt with her answers. You know, she's not really, like, forcing a conversation too much. The only time they really actually exchange, really, and build on each other's, like, sentences is when they say something, there's an awkward silence, and the other one goes, how do you feel about that? Like, that happens about 10 times. Ariel then says to Ned that she just feels like he has put so much shame on her, and Ned's response is pretty wild to this.
All of that guilt and shame, you, like, hoisted that on me. Like, you gave that to me. And now I have to carry that around for the rest of my life.
Bro, she's so tough. That is so cold. Maintained eye contact. Look at the face. I'm talking to you now, son. Just me and you in this room now, and I'm dragging your ass.
I don't think it's fair that as a society you're put in that position. It's certainly not true. And no, it's not something that I imagined as I was doing that. I think not.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get a little bit of nervous energy out. Apologies, guys. I feel like I'm in the room here. Like, I feel like I'm in the room I've been locked in and they won't let us out, and they're still just continuing to talk. I feel like these are my parents. What is this? So his response to, you know, Ariel saying how much guilt he'd put onto her, his response was, yeah, as a society, I don't think it's fair that you're put in that position. What do you mean? Society didn't do anything to her. It was you. You put her in this position, not society. What's society got to do about this? No one in society is going, ooh, shame, Ariel. Shame. No one was doing that. It's you. Not this. Oh my gosh. He's trying to prove he's kind of self-aware a little bit here. Like, yeah, as a society, honestly, we need to do better. I know this is a bit of a side note, but I think the way that he's cheated is a lot worse than a one-night stand. Like, any cheating is worse, but do you know, if I got cheated on and it was a one-night stand and it was a drunken mistake, like, obviously I'd be really annoyed and, you know, I'd be really hurt. But I feel like I would be more open to talking about it rather than it being like a month's emotional affair. You know, like, they're both really bad, but I just feel like there's more of a conscious decision, and especially when you've I feel like emotional cheating, not that it's a competition, but I feel like emotional cheating would cut a lot deeper for me than what physical would, like on a one-time physical thing, because you've actually bonded with someone, and I think that would hurt me a lot more personally. They would both hurt, but I'm just trying to say, I think the way he's done it is really, really bad. And somehow, at this point, I don't know how, the podcast gets even more of an excruciating watch.
I just think, how could you do that to me? Like, who are you?
I'm Ned Fulmer. Who? Ned Fulmer. Who's that? Me! It's copy and Ronnie Picker in there, wasn't the time. I can really tell that Ariel is still, obviously as you would, but she's got a lot of anger. And I don't know if she knew that she had this anger until she was, like, face to face with him. It's all coming out here. Like, I've actually just looked at him and went, who are you to do that to me?
I'm so sorry.
Like, we had so much. There was so much. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm really trying. I hate awkward silences. It's really tough. This is probably tougher for me than it is for both of them. That's a joke. It's alright. It's alright. You're doing great, sweetie. You're doing great. You're doing great. I know. You're doing great. I don't know why they haven't just stopped now, because clearly they're getting nowhere. Like, where can the conversation really go from here? This isn't some sort of raw, uncut, really, like, look behind the curtain type of thing where we're really learning and it's, like, bold and brave. It's not that at all. It's awkward, and it's almost like you feel like you shouldn't be watching this. And I'm just thinking about the children and, like, you know, the children's friends and the parents of the children's friends. Like, I'm just worried about the children and how this is going to affect them, because clearly, in my opinion, they're the parents and they're in control, but I don't think this was the right decision to do. That's just me. I wouldn't do this personally. Ned then goes on to talk about, like, why he's actually launched his own show, and you can see in Ariel's face, she's like, yeah, why have you? Like, she doesn't even understand it. She's the first guest.
You know, I've always been finding ways of connecting people with their interests, and so I came up with I don't know, I see myself more as like a host and more as just a vehicle for other people's stories. And I don't know, maybe I can, because of what I've gone through and my past, like connect with people and empathize with people. What?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, you think you're interesting enough?
No. In my opinion, the reason why Ned is doing a podcast, because it's not based on his personality, because he knows that people won't invest themselves into his personality unless he takes a drastic route to something else. So he's basically going to use the platforms of other people. And I imagine he might not even put his face on the thumbnails of some of them. He'll just have the entire thing centered around, you know, the guest, and he's kind of just, you know, there to ask the questions, kind of like a Stephen Bartlett kind of vibe, where the guest is basically the primary focus and the host doesn't really, you know, include much of their own stories. One thing I will say is I definitely think he would have developed a new level of empathy, I would hope, going through what he went through. Not because of the fact he cheated, but the fact that anybody that gets a tremendous amount of, you know, online hate definitely develops this new sense of, you know, understanding human emotions a bit, and you're like, oh, like, okay, this is how, you know, horrible some people can be when you do something or whatever, you know. It's definitely an eye-opening experience is what I'd say. It offers a fresh perspective on a lot of things. So that is one thing that I will say he can take from this situation, although he has not demonstrated it in this towards his wife. That's one thing I will say.
Thank you again to Ariel. Thank you for your honesty, your vulnerability, your directness. This truly meant a lot to me, and thank you for watching. Next week, I'm excited to not be the subject of the episode. I'll be having a conversation with Lara Love Harden.
Sorry, how is brother just like casually promoting the next episode? Like, what we haven't just seen was absolutely drastic. I think he genuinely thinks that that went amazingly, and now people are going to be so invested in his story and him interviewing other people. I don't know if this is just me, and maybe I've missed the mark here with this entire thing, but I'm not going to watch his next episode, because why would I dedicate time out of my life to watch an hour of someone that, you know, did something to someone else and showed no remorse really for it? Like, didn't look like they were even that apologetic. Like, yes, they apologized, but I didn't feel it, or I didn't feel it personally. Let me know what you think, because obviously I'm a little bit disappointed with myself that I couldn't offer as much perspective from Ned, but honestly, I just couldn't really see many things from his point of view. I did try. Hopefully this video is good. Hopefully you enjoyed my coverage of it, Donuts. It will be interesting to see how this thing unfolds, and I saw that the Try Guys, Keith from the Try Guys, actually responded to this on his Instagram, kind of like alluding to it. He basically put this on his Instagram story, which kind of like, you know, it's like a subliminal message kind of thing. I definitely think they will be watching that and being like, why has he done that to himself? But yeah, if you want to watch another video from me that is similar to this one, where we talk about a current event that is disturbing, click this video here. Or if you want a more light-hearted watch, you've got this video right you've got this video right here. Okay, we've got all angles covered for you.
Kirkham, baby.